श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। जन्माद्यस्य यतोन्मयादितरतस्य अर्थेष्वभिघ्नस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्मरुधाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यं सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। In the previous discussions, that is day 61 of Dashamaskanda, of total Bhagavata, and we were in Dashamaskanda discussing about Krishna visiting Indraprastha. So, if you remember the previous discussion, Uddhava suggested two things. One is killing of Jarasandha. Second one is going to Indraprastha to help Rajasuya Yaga performance by Yudhishthira. So he combined both things can be done in a sequence so that the major situational all over the Samrajya situation will be solved. So based on the suggestions from Uddhava, Krishna came to the Indraprastha. So when Yudhishthira, of course, when Krishna came, the family they were, the Yudhishthira and Pandavas were very happy, and we discussed about how they worshipped Krishna and Rukmini together there. Now, so typically, I think what used to happen is they come there, they stay for months together in wherever they go, kind of thing. So it is not a flying visit. Maybe because the distance typically traveled was itself takes maybe a couple of days or something. Anyway, they were relaxed people, so they always went like that. So here Yudhishthira is asking Krishna, saying, hey, we need to perform we are thinking of performing this one Rajasuya Yaga to establish our Samrajya, so that we become well known and maintain well known people in this, and maintain the peace in the entire Aryavrata, that is Bharatavarsha and Bharat and around surrounding places. In fact, if you go back in the history, Bharat was a bigger portion than what it is now. It's India now. It looks like one portion of that. There is a ancient Indian map is there. It covers a lot of things, a lot of places, maybe up to China this side, up to Afghanistan, even Iran kind of places. So it was fully bigger one. So this king, the Yudhishthira, is becoming king in the Indraprastha. Indraprastha is now New Delhi. So that became the center part that time. So he established himself as a successful person, and he wanted to bring everybody under his umbrella so that a peace can be maintained and friendship can be maintained among all the countrymen, the different kings. One is Samrata and another are kings. Right? This guy is a Samrat. Now he wants to officially perform Rajasuya Yagna so that everyone agrees his ruling. The intentions are good. In fact, he wanted to bring everybody together. So Krishna is helping him for that reason. So he is there. But there are some miscreants like Jarasandha, who has been always an headache. His headache for the entire Bharatavarsha that time, and also Narakasura, Shishupala, these opposition party, right, with not good intentions, just to rule or just to get the benefit out of the being king kind of thing. These kind of people always exist. So it is happening that they are getting together and they fight with Krishna and good people. It is always there. So now Krishna said to Yudhishthira, okay, go ahead, send your brothers, communicate to entire Bharatavarsha people, all the kings who you want to be under your umbrella structure, so that they accept and they agree. There is tax and other things will be there to run the country kind of thing, the bigger nation. So Yudhishthira sent his brothers with and all the directions, and they came back successfully. Everyone, they said they had when they went to different kingdoms, and they were, some were welcomed, some were reluctant, and wherever it was amicable, they solved it. Wherever it is force has to be applied, they applied the force. Then they made sure that everybody agreed. Only thing they could not get hold of this guy is Jarasandha. Jarasandha was always a strong personality, powerful person, lot of muscle power, right? It was always Krishna also. He had tried to attack on Krishna for 17, 18 times, and Krishna let him go several times. And of course, Krishna did some tricks, and he was waiting for this day. There is a spiritual reason behind this, why he let him go and all those things. Let us see that later. Now, Jarasandha needs to be bent. So, brothers of Yudhishthira came, that Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva, and Bhima came and said, we could win all the places, and everybody has agreed. Jarasandha did not agree. So, if at all we need to do, we may have to go on war. So, we wanted to check with you before we do that. So, Krishna is there. Krishna said, no, don't do that. This guy cannot be killed like that. So, because he has some blessings, it needs a different approach. So, some situations like this come in our lifetime, right? Which has to be handled in a not a traditional way, different way. So, Krishna has shown so many paths in his this reincarnation. He always solved the problems by first understanding the problem and then addressing it. It's not the same tool for the same thing, right? You cannot use the screwdriver to turn the nuts and bolts. You have to use spanner for that, something like that. So Krishna said only Jarasandha can be defeated by a great Brahmin quality person, and he cannot be defeated because he has his own powers. So among your brothers, Bhima seems to be the most having highest quality of Brahmin quality. Then we should take. You allow me to take him. I can go and finish the job. If we go back to Ramayana case also, same thing was there with Ravana. Ravana was never defeated by anybody. Of course, Wali was the one who made him feel less at one time. Otherwise, Indra and everybody were under control by this guy Ravana, because of his Brahmin quality. Brahmin quality mixed with Sura quality is the most dangerous bomb, right? The same case with Jarasandha. So, but Jarasandha has some principles, as I mentioned in the previous discussions. He never humiliated women. He never wanted to harass. So he left them. He never did anything, some sort of that. But also, he always respected Brahmins, and he is ready to do anything for them, kind of nature. So Krishna knew this nature. But other than this, he has a very bad quality, which is not socially good qualities. So it is causing problem. Now, Jarasandha has captured 2,800 prince from all the different countries, and they put them in jail, because to have the power control. So there are several ways one can control in our own family situations. We see one is by force, another one is by showing your dignity, showing your greatness, and they belong to you, kind of thing. So there are several approaches. Sometimes it works that way, sometimes this work. So here it happened. Here Jarasandha decided in an offensive way, capturing capturing the princess and keeping them in jail, so that his parents will be subordinate to him. So that's what happened, because those are all very small kings who cannot go against uh, Jarasandha. Now Krishna comes here with Bhima, Arjuna, and himself disguised as a Brahmins. As soon as they enter into Jarasandha's place, Jarasandha knows that some Brahmins have come to him, visit him. So he met them, and there was a discussion between them, between Jarasandha and Krishna. And as soon as Jarasandha felt they are the Brahmins, he treated them well, very well, and great hospitality was given. And Krishna also started talking about Jarasandha, saying that, oh, you have been very well known to treat very well, your hospitality is well known, and you always treat Brahmins very well. This is a really good quality of you, and all those things he said. But as a Brahmins, we have come here to ask for one thing. Can you give us? Jarasandha said, yes, if Brahmin is asking anything, I am ready to do. But while maybe he realized the personalities, looking at Bhima and Arjuna, he felt these guys do not look at kind of a typical Brahmins, because uh, Kshatriyas, who are the warriors, have a different physical structure. They are very looking like well built. Their hands were showing as if there are the marks of the fight, all those things. Then he expressed to Krishna, looks like these guys do not look like Brahmins. Then Krishna said, you are right. We are not Brahmins. We are in a disguise like Brahmins. But since you have promised to give us the whatever we ask, you should give. Krishna, Jarasandha said, yes, promise is a promise. Look at the nature of Jarasandha, right? Though in the entire thing we think Jarasandha was a bad guy, he had some good quality. We see that same thing in so many good bad people. So it is always better to recognize good qualities in bad people also, and and appreciate them. That's what Krishna showed here. So Jarasandha agreed to fight. So Krishna says, okay, then let us fight, you and me. It is long, it has been 17 times or 18 times you have tried to attack. Then Jarasandha laughed at him and said, come on, you always ran away from me. You never, again you want me to fight and you start running. You are a Mayavi kind of person. I don't fight with such people. You are a coward, he tells to Krishna. Then, okay, then out of these two guys, whom you want to fight? Krishna is offering. So he says, okay, that guy, the Arjuna, looks like a little thinner than me and also little younger. I don't want to do injustice. I'm not here to win or lose. I'm just here to make sure that your desires are satisfied for fighting with me, because I'm a well-known warrior. So maybe people want to fight with me. So whatever the guys you brought with you, I will fight the bigger guy. So Krishna said that bigger guy is Bhima. So you want to fight with him? He said, yes. See, these are the typical rules in that time frame, which were, but I don't think that mindset is existing in Kali Yuga. We want to do the shortcut. If somebody is weak, we want to finish them first, so that there is an easy way to win. So rules of fighting, rules of winning wars are changed now. Like now it is a cyber attack, or maybe the corona kind of things, right? Something, rules are changed, the way of handling the things are changed. Then now coming back to the Bhagavata Puran, now Bhima and Jarasandha started fighting. They were good wrestlers. It was fun to watch. People were enjoying the kingsmen there, and these people fought for a while. Then Bhima looked at Krishna, saying that this guy is continuously going on, and so he teared him off. Bhima decided to kill him, so he teared him off and threw the two parts separately. But these two parts of Jarasandha came back and joined. Then he became more powerful. Then Bhima got confused. What is going on? This guy comes back and joins. So what is going on? Then Krishna saw him getting confused. He took a small twig in his hand. That is the creativity of Krishna. He broke it in two parts and threw it that in the different directions. That means the right side half of the twig he threw left side, and left half of the twig he threw into right side. So when it comes back and joins, it won't join properly. So that's what happened. Bhima did that activity. So naturally Jarasandha died. Then as soon as Jarasandha died, Krishna appointed Jarasandha's son as a ruler of the Magadha Desh. Right? Magadha's king, Jarasandha was Magadha king. So Jarasandha's son's name also Sahadeva. So Sahadeva became the king of Magadha Desh, and Bhima Arjuna expressed him saying that, hey, we have here, this is part of our Rajasuya Yaga, we wanted to make sure that everyone joins with us. Sahadeva agreed. Sahadeva appreciated their goodwill, saying that even though you killed my father, you should have captured, but you allowed me to become the king. My father had done so many mistakes, I know, but I did not oppose them. All those things he said, and then he became the subordinate king for the Yudhishthira. So this the path was clear for Rajasuya Yaga. This is how Krishna solved the problem, two problems in one shot, at the right time. So timing is very important in addressing the situations. Now, what was the story of Jarasandha being two halls, and what happened? Why? Who has blessed him? So this portion is not part of the Bhagavata Puran. Bhagavata Puran doesn't talk about it. This also comes in the Shanti Parva of the Mahabharata and some other Puranas. I don't know, but when I was searching, I found this story. Maybe it is from Mahabharata or maybe from somewhere else. Jarasandha's father, his name was Badrinath. He was Magadha king that time. He got married to twin sisters, daughters of King Kashi king. If you remember, Kashi Raja, Narakasura combined, they were fighting with Krishna at some point. Same thing, maybe same king's daughter, two daughters he got married. And Badrinath was so fond of both are twins, so he liked them both. Then he was interested in having kids with them. Then he went to a Rishi, Chanda Kaushika Rishi. Then Rishi gave a fruit, a blessed fruit, so that he said, you feed it to, he did not know he has two wives. He said, you give it to your beloved wife, then you will get a successful king kind of person. So king loved both the wives equally, so he made into two halls, and he gave them to each one to each wife. Told them that you will get a blessings of Rishi, so you will get the kid. This is very strange story. Two half portions two halves were born, the same body. One lady gave birth to one half, and another lady gave birth to another half. Whatever the half they ate, right, left half or right half, they give birth. So Badrinath, the king Badrinath, was very unhappy. What happened? Looks like this is not a regular birth. So he requested his servants to go this and throw in the forest. They went and threw that in the forest. So in the forest there was a demon lady called Jara. She was looking for the food. She saw these two halves, one half of the body one side, another at the far away. She came and she looked at it and she said, okay, let me see what it is. She combined them together. It became one body, perfect baby, She looked at it. She wanted to eat, but this child started crying so much. She felt, okay, I cannot handle this. I cannot even eat this one. So she decided where it has come. She went to in a disguised form to king of that country. That was happened to be the Badrinath, and she said, "Hey, I found this in the forest nearby your kingdom, so I wanted to let you have this." Looking at the baby, he felt, and she told the story. This was in two halls. I tried to fix them, and they got together. So then again, king was so happy. They said, "Okay, let him be. I will adopt him. He is my son." Of course, he was his son. That's how Jarasandha was born. But another story of Jarasandha is we go back to our discussion happened that Sananda this went to visit Vaikunta, and then this Jaya Vijaya, the doorkeepers of Vishnu, they did not allow them because these guys were naked or something, and they gave the shapa, right? Then Vishnu came out and said, no, okay, if they have given the shapa, this bhakta, they are my bhaktas, I cannot avoid it, but only thing I can do is I can reduce. I think this story we already, maybe we will be discussing in the I remember we have already discussed this in the past. That's how the Jaya Vijaya were born as one pair as born as Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu. That is, one is Narsimha Avatara, one is Varaha Avatara. Then another was Kumbhakarna, Ravana in Rama Avatara. Then this is Shishupala and Dantavakra. Right? So now the reason I am telling this is Jarasandha has, of course, none of them is Jarasandha here. So Jarasandha has connection with those guys. So he was born along with Shishupala is the next one who comes into the picture. So he was friends of those guys. So that's how Jarasandha had, though he was a son of a king, but he became in association with Shishupala, who is a demon. Now he became like that. So now he has been killed by Bhima now. So these are the supporting stories around the Jarasandha, Shishupala and Dantavakra kind of guys. So now Krishna came back with Balarama and Krishna came back with Bhima and Arjuna back to the Indraprastha. Yes, and before coming, he liberated all those 20,800 kings. I think it is 2,800 kings, prince from the different kingdoms. Then he said, "Go back to your places." And Sahadeva is, I'm talking about Jarasandha's son, being so respectful to them, he gave them the dresses, he gave them the ornaments, everything, made sure they are well respected, they don't have any animosity with him, they were well treated and sent back to their respective places. Then Krishna, Bhima and Arjuna came back to Yudhishthira and mentioned that now you are ready to start the Rajasuya Yaga. So Rajasuya Yagna started. All the Bhima and Arjuna and brothers went around and they came with a successful agreement with the rest of the world. So now they are eligible to take care of the Rajasuya Yaga. So one of the prerequisite for perform Rajasuya Yaga is identifying one person, a qualified Brahmin or such quality person with qualities of a good Brahmin as a Agra Puja person. So they worship that person in the form of Bhagavan. so that always this Samrat, though he is the Samrat for every entire Bharatavarsha that time, but he'll be also be lesser than that person. That is Bhagavan, he, that is Agra Puja which happens. So typically we do this, right? We bring Swamijis. Swamijis become the uh, main person then. So it is always for the leaders to be submissive, either to in front of a god, in front of Swamiji, or in front of identified big personality. And in case some cases they respect the flags, right? They put the flag and everybody says this is our guru or this is our highest thing. So nobody as a person will be highest thing. So that was the representation of bringing somebody for the Agra Puja. So they were looking for who is the qualified person. This is the discussion happening because next couple of days Agra Puja has to happen. So who is that? Then somebody said Bharadwaja, Rishi, Gautama Rishi, Vasishtha, all those people can be invited. But they will come as a priest. They will be performing. They said we'll come as a priest, but we need to find a person which belongs to your this country and who will be considered as a respected person, something like that, so that he can be advisor. So Sahadeva spoke up, saying that Sri Krishna is the best, and he has been shown so many transcendental qualities, and he's and considered to be avatar of Vishnu because of his performance in the current situation. So many places he showed his valor as like that. In if you remember, we were discussing about Krishna Avatara is the avatar in which Krishna has shown all his powers of a Bhagavan, right? Beyond the human nature. In case of Rama Avatar, he never, though there is expression in a very subtle manner, like Ahalya, the stone becoming the woman, and all those things, that was a very remote place and nobody knew. It was a story. But here, in case of this, Krishna did manifest into couple of people and manifest into going from one place to another place. So he expressed his avatar without hiding anything. Some people of even killing the demons at this young age. So even though these things were happening, some people still don't believe, consider him as great person or maybe Bhagavan. It happens in all the now also in the now time frame also it happens. Even though a Bhagavan comes and says I am the Bhagavan, people don't. Some mindsets are like that. It is a mixture. So here also same thing. Sahadeva knew he is Bhagavan, and enter Bhishma knew that he is Bhagavan. And actually, some people suggested Bhishma also for the Agra Puja as being the eldest and a very dedicated person for the country, serving the country. But Sahadeva mentioned, looks like maybe Bhishma must have served only for the Kauravas and that Vamsha, Kuru Vamsha. But Krishna served across the globe, across the place, wherever there is a distress, he was there helping. So Sahadeva expressed it, he should be worshipped so that everybody has some reference to follow as a model. But even Bhishma also agreed. Bhishma said, yes, he is the right person to be treated as a candidate for Agra Puja. Then everything was set. Everyone has agreed. Everything was. But Shishupala was there. Shishupala is a relative of Sri Krishna. His brother's sister's son. Shishupala and Krishna, when even growing together also, Shishupala always hated this person, his cousin, because maybe of the good qualities or because of his success or because of his popularity. Whatever, Shishupala's mindset was always a negative, jealous mindset. We see such people in our association, right? We so many people are there. Like if there is a beautiful function is happening, everybody is appreciating. this one or two persons come and say, oh, there was some mistake in this plate, right? The salt is less in the food, right? They forget entire thing. They only want to, maybe it is the inner side of them saying that they don't want to accept the success. So these personalities, Shishupala personalities, are we, especially in Kali Yuga, we see a lot of them expressing like this. In fact, in one of his books, Eckhart Tolle mentions that these personalities are called pain bodies. So as soon as these people enter in the place, they start spreading the negative. So we have to either oppose or go away from them. Krishna has, since this Shishupala is his relative, he tolerated him for long. In fact, at some situations he went to fight with him, but his mother, Shishupala's mother, requested, "Hey, don't do. I know you are Bhagavan. Why can't you help him?" So Krishna agreed with her, saying that I will allow him to do such mistakes for 100 times, but there should be a limit for all the nonsense. So Krishna obeyed by that. Now Shishupala doesn't understand that. This is the mindset they don't understand. However, number of chances you give them, they are like that. So this guy did not understand. He again started shouting. It is in everybody is sitting like discussing the things, and this guy starts shouting in the court of king Yudhishthira. This is just discussion going on. The plan for to perform the puja is maybe in next couple days. But what happened is Shishupala did not stop. I think it went on for several times. So finally, Pandavas got very angry. How come you can insult our guest? You are also our guest, and he is also our guest. How come you can insult? It's not good. Please get out. Something like that. They wanted to fight with him. In fact, this kind of situation happened with me also once. One Indian politician came to my home because I invited them because he was attending some function. He wanted some South Indian food, and this VHP people suggested that, hey, please can you help? And we treated him very royally well, to the extent that we gave the idli to him. He said, I want vada. So we same time I went to extra mile to bring the vada, so that the homemade idli is aligned with vada kind of. So we treated him like a royal. And next day we had invited American born American person who is a author, who is a very fan of Hindus. He writes a lot of supporting material about Hindus, and we wanted him to meet this guy, this politician, so that there will be some binding happens, and we can take that the good work of that author to now next level. But suddenly this politician is a very strange personality. He said, oh, these American guys, what do they know about Hinduism? Then he started shouting at him. It went to the level that both are my guests. It went to a level that that American guy looked at me, because he's American and American born. He never insulted people so badly. And he said, Anil, what is going on? Can we stop this guy? In fact, in front of him, he is telling this. Why is he treating me like this? Then, being a host for both of them, I respectfully folding my hands, I requested, sir, stop it, because it is not good for insulting him. That he did not stop, because he is at a high power. He said, no, Anil, you don't know what kind of people they come in a different disguise and write something, and you guys become. And I said, sir, at least for the sake of guests, please respect him. You also my guest. He is also my guest. Don't treat him like that. I happened to raise my voice, and then that's how they separated. They separated means they had lunch with us, and they went. I apologized with this American author, saying that sorry about that. He said, oh no, don't worry. This is very polished guy. He said, nothing wrong with you. Then I happened to drop this off, but this guy was so unhappy with me because I did not support the his mindset. So these things, my intention of sharing entire story is these things happen in day to day life also. Some people don't understand. However polished you want to convey, they don't understand. It happened here. The same thing with Pandavas. Krishna being insulted by Shishupala. So Pandavas stood up and they started. They wanted to kill Shishupala. Again, Krishna intervened. He said, "No, no, no, no. It is my candidate because he's my relative. I agreed to his mother. He should stop doing this, otherwise he will face the challenge." But Shishupala finally did not understand because because the enmity, the jealous, the dvesha is always like that. It takes the control of a person, and finally, enough was enough. He also started insulting everyone. It became too much. No choice left. Krishna sent his Sudarshana Chakra and it killed that Shishupala. Now, I did mention that Shishupala was the Jaya Vijaya's group, right? He was one is Jaya and another one is Vijaya. Now, this guy died in the hands of Krishna. This is the third birth of Jaya Vijayas. First one was Hiranyakashipu Hiranyaksha, second one was Ramayana time frame, Ravana and Kumbhakarna. This is Shishupala and Dantavakra. Shishupala died. As soon as he died, a Jyoti, a light kind of thing came from his body and entered into Krishna's body. Everybody was surprised. What is going on? This guy is a too bad guy, and he is coming and he is joining with you. So I think this question was asked by either Yudhishthira or Dharmaraya at the end in Mahabharata. It is not in Bhagavad Puran. It doesn't say anything, but it says a Jyoti entered into Shishupala's Jyoti entered, Atma maybe, entered into uh, Sri Krishna's body, so that it is called Leena happened, right? So they say in Bhagavad Puran that Shishupala got liberated and also got a Sayujya moksha. If you remember, maybe I have explained it. There are 4 or 5 types of mokshas, Sayujya and Saropya, something like that, which is looking like Bhagavan, friendship with Bhagavan, or becoming inside part of his soul, kind of something like that. They say, if time permits, I will explain once again. So he got, and we also discussed this kind of mokshas at different points. Somebody got Sayujya, somebody got Saropya level of mokshas. In the moksha also there is a category depending on the level and the nature of that atma, right? Each atma has a different nature. This is where Madhvacharya's concepts very clearly explains. He says bhinna jivi bhinna karma, and even Madhvacharya's concept also, the atmas, the jivis who get moksha, even there also they are not equal, they are individualistic, they are independent. Moksha, everyone gets moksha. One's moksha is not same as others moksha. The intensity of moksha may not be same. So similarly, Sayojya, Sarupya, all those things we say, naturally they are different. Somebody may get one category of service, business class. Everybody is flying, but one is business class, one is economic class, another is first class, something like that, or maybe having their own jets, something like that. So it is about Shishupala attaining the moksha, Sayujya moksha. But somebody was unhappy with this. That was Yudhishthira. He felt very bad. being Yudhishthira, that his nature is always like that. He said, "What happened? We wanted to perform this beautiful uh, mm, yagna, Rajasuya yagna, and this unwanted situation happened. Is it a bad omen? Is it something wrong?" Krishna said, "Nothing wrong. This is the nature of the life. Something bad happens, something good happens. You should not be worried about what happened. So there is a killing happened. So we should mourn for that. Sometime we shall do it. And also there is a Prayashchita Homa. Let us remember that guy who got killed and in a Prayashchita Homa, then continue our activities. So this is the very nice small messages within the story of Bhagavata Puran, communicating how a life should be considered and continue the life. So Yudhishthira did Rajasuya Yaga very successfully. It was completed. Krishna became the Agra Puja guy, and this is the blessings to Yudhishthira, like a Bhagavan kind of person becoming the taking the Agra Puja from him. So people enjoyed, whoever liked Krishna enjoyed this, bhaktas enjoyed the worship of Krishna. But Duryodhana was always unhappy for two reasons. One is the success of Yudhishthira and Pandavas, he could not tolerate. Second thing is they could pull together to perform the Rajasuya Yaga. That means even the Hastinapur comes under them. Though he wanted them to throw away, but now they became the Samrat. Even at one point, though the duration was small, before they started fighting the Mahabharata war, Duryodhana's father, Dhritarashtra, was a subordinate king for Dharmaraya. So Dharmaraya was considered as Samrat, and under them was the Hastinapur. So this Duryodhana could not tolerate. And he was going through the palace. He could not he was so unhappy. How come they could build this, all those things? Looking at his property, prosperity, and the magnificent things. This is all because of the blessings of Krishna. Yudhishthira could build that. And everyone completed the Rajasuya Yaga, and there is a final Avabhruta Snana happens, right? Final bath, taking bath, final bathing ceremony. There was much. They celebrated like a water sporting event. Everybody went to river, had fun. Men, women, everyone in the Ganga river, and they had fun. And but when they finished all these things and people started going back to their homes, uh, it is several months together program. That is not one day program. Like now recent marriages happened, right? You come and wish the couple, eat the one lunch or dinner, and vanish from there. It was like the regular programs. People come months together early and all those things. So especially this guy is a king, so everybody was still there. And the Brahmins who were living, they were given a lot of donations and all those things. Everybody was made happy. The lavish spending was there. And Pandavas were requesting the closest friends like Krishna and even the Duryodhana and everybody, hey, why can't you stay another 3 days? Because everybody lose on the same day. It becomes like uncomfortable for us. They stayed back. Then there was a tour in the palace and having fun. Everybody after the program, people hang out, right? Go out and have tea or something, spend time and talk about the program. This was going on. They were touring the palace, but with the same bad mindset, jealous mindset. Duryodhana was there, stayed there as a relative, but he continued his behavior. So naturally, that takes its own results. He was walking in a place Where he felt there is water, he lifted his dhoti and walked. Everybody looked at him, somebody laughed at him. Dharmaraya said, no, 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 it is all Maya, so please don't laugh at people. So he was just a decent guy. But Krishna, Bhima, and Draupadi, they were in a fun mood. They said, hey, what is the wrong? If he has done a mistake, let us laugh at it. He should take it a sportive way. But if Duryodhana is not that mind, right? So he did not take it that way. Then unfortunately, and in next palace room they went. Everybody took right turn and going around. This guy wanted to go straight. He thought there is a land. It was water. He fell into the water. This time nobody could stop laughing at him. And Duryodhana felt very bad because unattentive mind, right? Somebody must be explaining there what are these things. Don't go here. Don't go. This guy did not realize. He fell in the water. He became a laughing element there. Everybody laughed at him. That hurt Duryodhana very bad. Not only Duryodhana, he had come with his people. Everybody said, oh, it is a great insult for you. Look at the women also were laughing at you, kind of. So that's what resulted into Mahabharata war. Just a trigger, okay? That is not a real reason, may not be. But it is a trigger for the war, kind of thing. So this is how Bhagavata Purana talks about some portion of the Mahabharata, slowly bringing us to Mahabharata, and again it goes away from there. It doesn't continue the Mahabharata story. So finally, Duryodhana was embraced, and he went back with his friends and to Hastinapur, and maybe he started planning what to do with them. Here, what happened? While Krishna is in Indraprasth, they were planning to go back. Salva, the one of the kings who has been defeated by Krishna when Krishna took Rukmini, right? That time he followed with King Rukmi, and Salva got, if you remember, we discussed about this. Again, he thought this is the time to go and attack. When Krishna is not in Dwaraka, we should attack. So in between the first defeat and now, Salva went to Himalayas and he worshipped Shiva big time. Shiva is Bholenath. If anybody worships they are in the right path, he doesn't look what is his intentions, he will bless them. So this is what happens in the spiritual path. I heard somebody was talking, like I was listening to some, I think the Shri M. If you have time, please visit, so look into the Google or maybe YouTube, called Shri M and Karan Singh. Karan Singh is a Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, right? In the past. So they have some discussion. I heard in that manifestation of things like magic power is not a big deal for the people who achieve it. And Shri M in that says he also can do magic, but that is not the final thing. So some people who get that magic power, they take a wrong direction, and they start showing it as a demonstration or showing me you misusing it. This has been even discussed in the autobiography of Yogi. There are so many stories that come how these Babas, Siddhi Babas, they manifest something out of the air. They get the things like jamun or something, whatever you want. I remember in autobiography of Yogi, the author says he saw somebody asking for the food, and this Baba was asking what kind of food you want. Whatever he said, that manifested, and it came in the form of a plate with all that filled. So this guy could not believe how come it is possible. Then Yogi, that Baba, explained him something, and then that is the case. So finally, what I want to say, this Salva did the achievement similar to them, but intention was wrong. And Shiva is the Shambhu. He just blesses everybody. Even Brahma also does some such mistakes. This guy blessed him. Do go ahead. Everything is done by the Maya of Bhagavan. Things to happen, what time should happen, it will happen, kind of thing. It is part of the grand design. So now, Salva, they say the way he worshipped the how he made Shiva appear is every day he was this Salva was eating dust, a small handful of dust, survived by chanting Shiva's name. Something they say that the kind of vratas how he did. And when Shiva appeared, this guy asked, "You give me a flying machine, like a bomber. Give me a flying machine which should be like a city, then I can fly this to anywhere and I can attack anybody." For Shiva, it is easy. Okay, he said, "Okay, here is the flying machine. You can control this." Sorry, Salva went back and he took that machine and he started bombing this uh, Dwarka. And son of Krishna was there, Pradyumna. Pradyumna is also Satyaki, Pradyumna, even Samba, right? Krishna's another son. They came out, they started fighting with him, and Pradyumna showed great valor and he destroyed uh, some of this Salva's forces. And he started fighting with Salva himself. And even the Salva's aeroplane also got destroyed at some portion. But when Pradyumna was fighting, another friend of Salva, he threw a weapon towards Pradyumna. His name is called Dviman. Dviman came behind and hit Pradyumna with his club. As soon as he hit, Pradyumna lost his control because it happened from the behind, and he rested on the chariot. As soon as he rested on chariot, his driver thought Pradyumna is not in a good condition. He took him to the home, out of the battlefield. So Pradyumna was very upset on that. Then he asks his driver to go back to the fight against Salva. But when he comes, the Salva's machine is again repaired and it is ready to fight, and he is again in the flying and started fighting. And fortunately, at the same time, Krishna is returning from Indraprastha. On the way, people said that, "Hey, Dwarka has been attacked by so and so, and your sons are fighting." And there was some setback with the Pradyumna and other things. So directly Krishna came to the battlefield and he started fighting with Shalva, the demon. As soon as he hit with his gada, that demon disappeared, vomiting the blood. So Krishna thought this guy disappeared means he is vanished. But that did not happen. This guy went to Dwarka and pulled his Krishna's father, Vasudeva, and kidnapped him. And he brought in front of Krishna, and in his flying machine says, "Here is your father, I want to kill him." Then Krishna could not tolerate. This is the story. Just whatever is mentioned, I am saying here. Then Krishna could not tolerate, and he set his Sudarshana free. And because of the Sudarshana is the one which cannot be defeated by anybody, it destroyed the entire flying machine and Shalva and everybody. So war was ended. Vasudeva, his father Vasudeva, went back to Dwarka, and everybody was happy there. This is what happened while Krishna was returning back to the Dwarka. Here, one more Dantavakra was there. I told you that Dantavakra is a friend of Shishupal. And also he was friend of Salva. So as soon as Shalva died, Dantavakra was very unhappy. Every fly is coming and getting into the fire now, right? Slowly. Everybody is being killed because before that is the last Mahabharata war happens, right? That is the time that is complete Ahuti, Purna Ahuti happens. All the bad people go. So this guy came out from his villa, right? From his place. Dantavakra appeared on the battlefield with a club, that is Gada again, in hand, and he was so powerful. He hit, he threw a weapon that destroyed Krishna's bow, and people were unhappy. These demigods always were waiting in the balcony, were unhappy. In most of this Bhagavad Puran, there is so many times it shows up that demigods are waiting in the sky observing this. That may be true case in our situations also. Whatever is happening, I was looking into this. What is it? Classified files or some Noah videos. They also mention this. They say the aliens come from different part of the world. They observe what is going on in this because everything is connected. This what is going on Earth is connected to the other universe. If the nuclear blast happens here, and it will be impacting others. One way of looking at is aliens coming here, making sure that they bring beautiful story, beautiful videos are there on the YouTube. If you are interested in science kind of fictions, the Noah videos cover all this. What is this? Classified files is the name of the video. 10 episodes are there. So the reason I'm bringing that here is the demigods were unhappy as soon as Krishna's bow was broken. That's where I got this thinking of somebody is watching always us, what is happening in this world. And we did discuss about these demigods like Indra and others who are responsible for our census and other things. They are waiting. They were unhappy. And Krishna again, it was part of his drama, I believe. So then he used his Sudarshana and killed Dantavakra. And Dantavakra had another brother called Viduratha. Again, he also came out to fight with Krishna. So Krishna did not spend much time. He just killed him off. That's how he killed Dantavakra is the Vijaya, another friend of Jaya and Vijaya, who requested only 3 lives going against Bhagavan and going back to the Vaikuntha rather than being friend of Krishna for 7 lives. They don't want to do friend of Krishna in Bhuloka because Sanaka Sanandadis told them that you are behaving like a human beings, so take birth in this world. So now they don't want to stay here. They wanted to go back. So they opposed Bhagavan Krishna and Vishnu in their 3 lives. 3 lives took 3 yugas, right? One is Dwapara Yuga, Satya Yuga, and this is happened in Dwapara Yuga. Treta Yuga was Ramayana. So in the 3 different yugas, these guys came and went back. While this is happening and everything is settled, dust is settled, Dwarka is now in safe place. But at that end, the hurt guy, that is Duryodhana, is very unhappy. Again, if you don't want it into the Mahabharata situation, Bhagavata Purana directly jumps to a place. There is a now maybe 10-15 years of gap here we are talking about. Because this Dyuta happens, Draupadi Vastaparna happens, and all those things. Now they are going for a war kind of situation, right? And Balarama comes to know Pandava and Kauravas planning to go for war. But this is still not finalized. Krishna has something to do, right? But Balarama wanted to be neutral. So he decided, okay, I don't want to be, this is a mess, man. This, I don't want to be part of this thing. So he wanted to go away from this politics. So he started moving around Tirtha Kshetra. Yet some portion, at some part of the life, persons get into a mindset, enough is enough. We don't want to deal with this because maybe energy is down, or maybe they're tired, or they may think there is no meaning in fighting, right? Some people take backseat and they decide, okay, let it go. So this is what Balarama did. This is what Vidura also did. They said, okay, we don't want to be part of, both are relatives, we don't want to be supporting any one of them. So similarly, Vidura also left for a pilgrimage during the war time. But Krishna is a different kind of person. He want to be there, make sure he expresses his opinion, supports the person which is right. That takes real guts to do that. And very few leaders we see like that. So here Balarama said, I don't want to be part of this mess. So he took pilgrimage. That doesn't mean that he was not in touch with the people. He used to get the information, what is going on. I will tell you the reason why I say that. So he went to the Prabhasa was a common place. If Prabhasa is in Gujarat, if you remember, some of you have visited. This is the common place. People used to come to that point and then go to the Badri and other places. It is one of the centers for the pilgrimages. Even when Skanda 3, we were discussing about Maitreya and Vidura discussing about the death of Krishna going to happen, or maybe happened at that time, and what knowledge Krishna parted to Uddhava, then Uddhava shared with Maitreya. Of course, Maitreya did learn from Vedavyasa also, but the knowledge that was now being started with the Bhagavata Purana, I am talking about Skanda 3, starting of the Bhagavata Purana, they also met in the same place, Prabhasa, that time. They also talked about a couple of days. When they go to such place, they stay a couple of weeks or months. That's where Maitreya and Vidura's discussion happens. That's where Maitreya talks about the time calculations of the universe, the Big Bang theory, the cyclic nature of the creation, and how Rushti and Samasti creations happen. We all discussed it in the past. Just I'm bringing that to provide a context of Prabhasa, how it was so commonplace to go for any pilgrimages. So now if you go with Vaishnavites, like some Madhva followers for the pilgrimage, especially Madhva Yatis, if Ashtamatha Yatis, if you go with them, they follow a path called Tirtha Prabandha tour. Tirtha Prabandha is written by Vadirajaru. So Vadiraja goes to all the places that is being visited in Mahabharata time by these guys. They go to Prabhasa also. They go to Dwarka, Prabhasa, and then they go to the Rishikesh, Haridwar, come back to Kashi, come back to Gaya, something, a circle. This is called Tirtha Prabandha. If anyone gets interested, please look at it. This is very interesting, especially when you go back to India to visit some time and have plan. I plan on going this Tirtha Prabandha tour. We visited, myself and my family, with 3 yatis. Fortunately, it was Vidyamana Tirtharu that time, Vidyamana Tirtharu and Adhamaro Swamijis. They take you to those places. They discuss about the Sthala Purana. Then you can relate. If you have read Bhagavata Purana and if you have read Mahabharata, and when the Swamijis, these Swamijis, or maybe the followers of Swamiji, some teacher will be there, Guru, he will talk about this is where is the Kapila Rishi gave information to his mother. This is where Shukamuni talked. All those things they reference. If you have read these Bhagavata Purana and Mahabharata at least one time, then the context makes sense. Oh, the tour and the information you collected, you can combine together and enjoy the entire thing. So this is just a suggestion, nothing to do with Bhagavat Puran now. We'll continue with the Bhagavat Puran story. Here Balarama went to Prabhasa and then he went to Tritakapu, yeah, some place, I don't know what it is called now. Then they called Vishala is another one. Then he went to Naimisharanya. There is a forest where the Suta Puranikas and Shaunakas, they are always doing this pravachan. If you remember, this is where we started our Bhagavata Puran, right? The Shaunaka Rishi is asking Suta Puranika about this Bhagavata Puran, and that's how it's continued. Now, if you bringing the context back, the story, whatever we are discussing now, is being explained by Shukamuni to Parikshitaraj, the Dashamaskanda. In between Narada, Brahma, and discussion happens. In between Maitreya and Vidura happened, because this is a nested story. From one point to another point, another point. So if we keep going back and checking, then it makes beautiful way. This is the way the people used to write in the past, Puranas. Like these recent movies, Inception and other things, we see that, right? They show something and then go back to different level of the mind in the dreams. There are a couple of movies. Inception is one, and a couple of them. If you watch those movies, you need to watch twice. Similarly, Bhagavad Puran is like that. You may have to see, revisit to understand the plot. So Naimisharanya came. Naimisharanya is another place where this kind of things, the spiritual things and the Puranas are continuously running. And he wanted to stay for some time. I'm talking about Balarama. Balarama stayed there. And one day what happened is he was sitting in the group discussing about these things. He happened to, by mistake, Ugrashravas. No, it was Ugrashravas' father, Romaharshana. Romaharshana also was sitting on the podium or maybe in the higher seat. Balarama did some mistake, and because of one grass, Romaharshana gets killed. And the people around Balarama said, "Oh, though you are a king, you have done a mistake. Though you are a king or you are brother of Krishna, nothing can stop you. Brahmahatya happened. So you should be doing some sacrifice and some things." Then there must be this story, very detailed story about killing of Romaharshanas by Balaram. I don't know what was the reason why it happened. It is by mistake, they say in Bhagavad Puran. Then Balarama was very sorry. He said, "Okay, I will make his son as the same position." And then Ugrasravas was made. Ugrasravas was also a very learned person. He was made the speaker of the Purana areas. Then rest of the Brahmins ordered Balarama, saying that you should go for the penance, you should go prayaschitta, do prayaschitta, and also there are some, if by mistake Brahma Hatya happens, there are some things that need to be done. So the Balarama did that, and he went to continue his pilgrimage. And on the way, he killed another demon called Balvala. Balarama killed him. And in the same time, by this time happened, of course, again coming back to the Mahabharata connection, when he was doing all this tour, he heard that Kurukshetra war is almost 13 days is over, and now Yudhishthira and Bhima are going to fight. So he went there. To stop, but they did not agree. Especially Duryodhana did not agree to stop the war. Though he lost everything, but still he was thinking he can kill Bhima. That is how the power of the Maya. It makes you to think you can do. Like now Rahul Gandhi is thinking he can become a prime minister, right? Which is very, very zero possibilities, but we don't know how the world works, right? So still he has hopes like that. Duryodhana wanted to kill Bhima, so then the war continued. Balaram again did not tolerate this and he came back. He continued his pilgrimage. This is the details of Balarama going to the pilgrimage. And again, he went back to Naimisharanya. He remembered what mistake he had done in the Naimisharanya and all those things. So up to this, we'll stop here. So next are the stories about Sudama visiting Krishna and how the friendship was working and what are the miracles Krishna did. There's a very interesting story. So there is a spiritual part to that also. We shall see what it is. Till then, we shall samarpana this entire discussion to Krishna. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.